I see people running from the lobby. Excellent. The first thing we're going to do this morning is sing together to bring our voices and our breath into this space. I am trusting that I will be able to sing all the notes. I sound like a duck. We can thank my grandchildren for that. So, Sonia, if you would play it through one time. Some of you might know this from Jim Scott, who is a UU singer-songwriter. This song was originally written, the tune of it was written by Yuri Zaritsky, and Jim added lyrics to it. So I'm going to squeak it through one time, and then you can join me for the second two times, okay? First note, please. May your life be as a song, resounding with the dawn, to sing awake the light and softly serenade the stars, ever dancing circles in the night. Try it with me. May your life be as a song, resounding with the dawn, to sing awake the light and softly serenade the stars, ever dancing circles in the night. One more time, be brave. May your life be as a song, resounding with the dawn, to sing awake the light and softly serenade the stars, ever dancing circles in the night. Very nice, thank you. Welcome to the beloved community known as the Unitarian Universalist Church of Amherst. I'm Reverend Michelle Buhite, the minister of this congregation, and my pronouns, which I offer to create a truly brave space for all to live into the fullness of their identities, are she and her. I'm joined up front today by worship associate Hella Jacob and Sonia Jensen-Schell at the piano. And of course, the unseen geniuses behind or above the scenes, Andy and Les up in our tech loft.
Good morning. My name is Hella Jacob, and I am a member of the worship team, and my pronouns are she and her. For those gathered in the chapel, I invite you to put your phones on airplane mode so that you and all may be fully present and free from distraction, as well as freeing up web bandwidth so that our live streaming friends are able to enjoy the service without disruption. But first, let's do what we do best in this congregation and greet one another, newcomers and long-timers. Let the welcoming begin.
That greeting song is just never long enough. Gonna have to get the extended play. Our opening words this morning come from Unitarian Universalist minister, the Reverend Gretchen Haley. There is nothing you need to bring with you to be welcome here. No right beliefs, no proofs of citizenship, no eternal optimism or clarity of conviction, no boundless courage or endless expertise. You do not need to know what brought you here or how you will solve that problem you are turning over and over and over in your mind. Your bills do not need to be paid, and your checkbook can be a mess. Your children may have been up half the night. Your hearing aids may not be working, and your knees may be creaking. You do not need to be already perfect or even halfway to belong in this circle where grace meets us where we are, but does not leave us as it found us, where love resides in each of us, yet is somehow more than all, where life still pulses and rages and heals and transforms, creating us and this day anew once again. And so come, let us worship together.
Like many Unitarian Universalist congregations, it is our custom when we gather to light a flaming chalice, and I'm going to ask Chris Berry to come up and assist this morning. The chalice is a cup or vessel that symbolizes the gathered community. I'm just explaining before we do the words, right? Okay. The flame represents the spark that each of us brings to represent the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment to bring more compassion and justice to the world. Now please join me in speaking our chalice lighting words. May the light we now kindle inspire us to use our powers to heal and not to harm, to help and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, to serve you, Spirit of life. Each week, as we light the chalice to symbolize the gathered community, we also acknowledge that our church is built on holy ground, ground that was first cultivated and occupied by the Haudenosaunee and those known as the Neutrals. We honor them as the original keepers of the land. We offer this libation as our giveaway, a symbol of our respect for and deep connection with the land. May we be good stewards of the land and courageously cultivate community with all living things. Together we weave a tapestry of reverence and belonging. Our song of intention this morning is a music video created by the Unitarian Church of the Foothills, combining one of our oldest traditional hymns with not-so-traditional words. We won't be singing along, just sit and take in the medium and the message.
This eventide, take a ride around the bend. Still with me, abide when the shadows begin. So much has faded, left me jaded. God has changed, it's complicated. From growth to decay, emergence be beyond thought and strategy. Where to its close. which I flow. Through the sickness, grandmother's wisdom is with us. In liminal spaces, feeling so breathless, death is an exhale, inhale with us. New life cuts through strife like a knife. Somehow we take it in, moving for the win, shaping change, and from endings begin. You are a holy friend. Yeah.
We are a beloved community, a gathering of people who have chosen to journey together, to encourage one another, and to be part of something important and life-changing. Because we aspire to be such people, we make bold promises about how we will be with one another. Whether today is your first time or you've made UU Amherst your long-term home, you are invited to share our sacred promise. Together, we promise to gather in compassionate community, to celebrate diversity of thought and unity of spirit, and to seek wholeness for ourselves, our children, and our world.
Our journey has begun. We've gathered and greeted one another. We've acknowledged with deep gratitude the legacy of the land that holds us and the light we carry within. Everything we have done to this point is centering practice, because we come to church to find our center, to be reminded that we are part of something much larger than ourselves, and that we are held in a love that defies our understanding. And so we bear witness to one another's joy and pain. We make room in the circle and in our hearts for all that we bring. You'll note that the table where we acknowledge our joy and pain is round. It's a gathering place. Even as you bring your individual hopes and cares, you are part of a circle of love. So I invite you to gather around. Maybe even look up, exchange a smile, maybe an encouraging touch. And we can let go of neat lines and cues. Just gather around and be mindful of one another. Try not to step on toes, philosophically and actually. But I invite you to come forward as you will, as the music plays, and to bring that which is on your heart. Come forward as you will.
By the waters of Babylon, where we sat down, and where we wept, when we remember Zion. By the waters of Babylon, where we sat down, and where we wept,
Let's share a few breaths as we expand our circle to include those who may not be present, but are certainly present in our hearts and minds. Today we hold Betty Howell and her family in our thoughts as Jack passed away this week. Let them know that they are loved and held in this circle. We lift up all those who are ill, those who are in pain, either in body or in spirit, those who are lonely, those who have been wronged. We are part of a web of life that makes us one with all humanity, one with all the universe. We are grateful for the miracle of consciousness that we share, the consciousness that gives us the power to remember, to love, and to care. May it ever be so in our lives. So I need to tell you that there is no easy delineation today between the time for all ages and the reflection, my code word for sermon. Somebody gets itchy about sermon. I just know it. I can feel it. So we don't do those. So it's just going to flow. So if it makes you anxious to see on the order of service there's a time for all ages, and then there's a reflection, just breathe it through. You're going to be okay. We're here together. I have a big question. And if you like me at all, please do not call out the answer. What is wrong with me? Thank you. I'm sure you never ask yourselves that. Or its companion question, why can't I just fill in the blank? I ask myself these questions. Take mushrooms, for example. I distinctly remember my mom inviting me to try a stuffed mushroom when I was 10. I have spent the 50 years since then trying to learn to like mushrooms. People tell me they're delicious. They get all excited about certain types, and it seems like small and shrivelly is particularly enticing. Nope. I can manage to eat a few in a stew, but I do not like them. This is true. Now I know. You're going to tell me that I just haven't had the right kind or had them prepared in the right way. It's a texture thing. They squeak. You know it. At first, ooh. But instead of logically considering how we all have different tastes and preferences, I turn the spotlight on my inability to measure up to the mushroom crowd. What's wrong with me? Why can't I just get over the weird texture and embrace the nutritional nirvana that mushroom lovers apparently experience? There is definitely something terribly wrong with me. Of course, that's ridiculous, right? Right? Sometimes I feel like a square peg in a round hole. And since you are here with me, I'm going to take a wild guess that occasionally you share that feeling. This slide has a cartoon of a square peg on the wrong side of a round hole that says, "Welcome to heaven, enter here." And the square peg is saying, well, crap. It is easy to feel like a square peg trying to fit into a round hole. I guess I'm here to tell you that in a society that seems to have one round hole way to heaven, we are probably the square pegs that will never ever fit. As Unitarian Universalists, our theology does not fit easily into a niche. We are people of a wide path, when so much of our culture seems to be narrowing down to the least common denominator: square peg, round hole. Did you know that over 90% of people attending Unitarian Universalist congregations, 90% are what we call come-inners? We've come to UU from something else, or maybe from nothing else. If we have come from other traditions, we might want UU to be nothing like we have experienced in the past. And that can come with a long list of don'ts, especially if some kind of hurt was experienced. For those who come from no particular religious background, the language of reverence, things like God, spirituality, these words may be empty and feel unimportant. Now, we also have, I told you about the 90%, but we also have 10% of Unitarian Universalists who have grown up in this faith and love its peculiarities, its hero-filled history, and are pretty adept at juggling religious words and practices because they've been taught to appreciate the gifts that various religions bring. And of course, there are people who arrive at our doors from other religious traditions and they crave the comfort and the challenge of the language of reverence, or the music, or the rhythm and flow of the service. And probably there is someone who just happened to stop in to turn around in our driveway, and now they popped in to see what the UUs are up to. We are all here, present and accounted for. We are a mixture of square, round, triangular, hexagonal, did I say that right? And every other possible peg we can imagine. And that works here, even if we do occasionally step on someone else's toes. We covenant to celebrate diversity of thought and unity of spirit. Our Universalist ancestor, Francis David, was put to death for the crime of innovation of religion. Hey, I have a bright new idea. Nope. That's against the law. Now, granted, that was the 16th century, but if you're paying attention to what is happening now in our country and beyond, you know that there is an expectation that all pegs be the same shape and provide the same function. Now, don't get me wrong. There's nothing intrinsically wrong with being a round peg. The world needs round pegs. The difficulty arises when round holes are the only option for pegs of all sizes and shapes. For those of us who don't quite fit into the expected niche, it can seem like life is made up of various sizes of boxes, and we just don't fit in. I happen to have a selection of boxes up front, the largest of which is labeled expectations. Can we talk a little bit about expectations? So here's a question for you, something that I wonder. I wonder what expectations, your own or someone else's, that you are not living up to. What expectations, your own or someone else's, are you not living up to?
Not being an annoying sister.
Okay, that's a serious one, right? Big expectations there. Do you want the microphone?
Everyone's.
Oh, everyone's expectations? Yes, not living up to, how about anyone's? I'm not living up to anyone's expectations. And I'll get you in just a second, Sonia.
Not just being easy and going along, and instead I'm dealing with problems rather than ignoring them. That's a problem for a lot of people.
Ooh, that's a hard one. That is a hard one. I'm a people pleaser. Oh my goodness, that is a rough one for me.
I expect of myself to be able to find the good in everybody, and feel like I'm falling really short of that in a lot of cases lately.
Thank you for that. Feeling, oh, I can't repeat it.
I expect of myself to be able to find the good in everybody, and lately I've found it very difficult to do that in a lot of cases.
Yeah. We believe in it, we affirm it, but it's hard to do it.
Keeping a tidy house.
Yeah, I don't even want to talk about that one.
My son believes that just because I'm 80, it doesn't mean I can't do everything.
What does he know? Child, right? Okay, so we understand what it is like to not live up to somebody else's expectations for us. So I am here to say that I am not living up to others' expectations. Some of you may have expectations for how a minister comports themselves. Sorry about that. That's not me. So when the faith of my youth shattered, my friends at the time responded with alarm. They said, "But you're the spiritual giant." Their words, not mine. "How can you fall so far?" What I need you to hear is that if you are not living up to expectations, it does not mean you don't belong. Expectations are not bad. I may have just painted them as being bad or silly or whatever, but they're not bad. Our Unitarian Universalist principles can be thought of as a list of expectations. If you want to claim to be a Unitarian Universalist, you'd probably be best trying to live according to our principles. If you're new to UU and you're in the chapel, you can find those principles on the back of your order of service. For those of you who are joining online, you can go to our website, uuamherst.org, and find our principles there. So the current language of our principles is to affirm and promote. We affirm for ourselves and potentially for another. So I might see you enacting what it means to respect the interdependent web of all existence, and I can affirm those efforts. To promote takes us into an area that many UUs find terrifying: proselytizing. I sure hope you proselytize. If you have found a good thing here, I want you to tell people. I am going to tell you that the broccoli cheese soup at Wegmans is outstanding. I know, right? It's amazing. And poof, right now, you have just been proselytized. I just gave you some advice. Go get you some of that broccoli cheese soup. Of course, I'm being ridiculous, but it's to make a point. Telling someone about something you found that adds meaning and joy to your life is simply sharing. We don't claim that there is something fundamentally wrong with someone who just doesn't care for broccoli cheese soup or Unitarian Universalism. So our principles can be thought of as expectations. And we try to live up to these rather lofty goals. Expectations that nudge us to be better humans are not the kind that can box us in. I bet you have experienced expectations that were not only not useful, but were detrimental to your essential self. So let me randomly come up with 2 examples that I may have written here in my tablet. A teacher says to a student, "Aha, I had your older sibling in class, and they were an excellent writer and artist. I expect no less from you." Luckily, I was an only child, so I never had that. And sometimes expectations come all wrapped up in tradition and family honor. We expect you will follow in your parents' footsteps. Do not let the family down. Heavy, big box expectations. So all of the boxes I have up here have both a positive and a negative side. So there's one here, putting others first. Well, that can be admirable and rewarding, unless we always put ourselves last. One of the ways I have boxed myself into this was with a little game I like to call meeting their needs before they know they have them. There's a little mind reading in that game. It's great fun. It's very rewarding. It is not. And I don't suppose I have any other fellow need meters in the room. I see you. It's okay to put others first when the conditions are right and everyone has the same amount of power. Oh, and one of my most favorite boxes, it's cute and little and looks like it's harmless. Ashamed. The thing that likes to be put in that box is perfectionism. I don't suppose we have any perfectionists in the room. Or anyone who feels shame for not giving 110% all the time. And what does 110% even look like? If I overfill my cat's water dish by an additional 10%, there is no more water in the dish. There is just a mess on the floor. Let's let go of that idea that we have to somehow give more than our capacity. That should be the end of the sermon, but I still have some time, so I'll fill it here. So here's a box that's not visibly labeled. Let's see if I can do this without putting down the whole thing. This is usually my wonder box. Wisdom. I hope it's still in there, yes. That was a little trust game. Let the paper be there. So wisdom, that seems like a really good thing to have. And I just can't box myself in by trying to know the most about a subject. I have to say it is very humbling to me that no matter what subject I preach on, there is at least one person in the room who is wiser than I am. So I don't have to be the one who knows everything. My mom was right. Nobody likes a know-it-all. Let go of that need, that perfection. It's a type of perfectionism to need to know all the things. So as we learn to move in and out of these boxes, expectations, perfectionism, shame, putting ourselves last, others first, and needing to be the expert in the room, we can create new and interesting boxes. Like, oh, I'm gonna have to do some interesting things here. Woo, let's trust, like love and soul. This is, no, that, I've played Jenga. I know that the big box cannot go on top of the little box. We'll just trust that they're both there. We can bring more love to the world and we can grow our souls if we are not so wrapped up and boxed in to all of these other things. So I also have up here my sacred mirror. This fancy design. I looked up sacred mirror on Google and that's what it gave me. I have no idea what it is, but it's very fancy. So this mirror I found in, I don't even know where I found it. not any place where I had to pay money for it, so it must have been in a junk bin. And I claimed it and I decorated it. It's got superpowers on it. That's because that's what I'm claiming. And I made this mirror when I was still feeling that stinging rejection from those who felt that I had abandoned or disconfirmed them with my decision to make other choices. So this mirror has been my friend throughout the decades, keeping me honest, keeping me on track, demanding my authenticity, even when it felt scary, unsafe, or irrelevant. This is the sacred mirror. No self-delusion is possible here. This mirror shows only truth. And I wonder what you see when you look in a mirror like that. So can we just sit with that for a second? Here we go. Find places to put the props before. All of the personas, those masks we wear, that we've chosen to embody or to leave behind, can we just acknowledge that we do that? Those personas being the person with the excellent housekeeping, even when all of life is much too busy for that to actually be something you can do. For being the best, the most knowledgeable, the good daughter, the good son, the good child, the good adult, the good parent. There's a lot there. But they don't all fit in that expectation box, and then we can wrap it up and send it off UPS. Someone will take it. I am by no means saying that we are perfect and that we don't need to work on ourselves. Inherent worth and dignity is our birthright. It is a gift that we have been given. But what we do with that gift, it's up to us. What's wrong with us? Nothing. Nothing that love and acceptance and becoming can't fix. Oh, we can be a bit wonky at times, but essentially we are people dedicated to what Brené Brown describes as wholehearted living for ourselves, for others, for this beautiful planet. We may be on various points on the path, but I believe that if you are here, if you have found a home in this wide path faith, then you are dedicated to wholehearted living. March 31st is Transgender Visibility Day, a day to honor those who are courageously becoming their more authentic selves. It's not an easy path, nor is it very often logical or sequential. Like a labyrinth, there may be turns and reversals on the pathway to wholeness. How can we know the inner life of another? Some pegs become shapes we do not understand. I believe it is up to us, people of the wide path, to whittle away at the edges of those round holes to allow pegs of any size or shape to live into the fullness of their identities. We can be vulnerable enough to speak honestly of expectations, shame, and perfection. We can choose not to avert our gaze, but to see them, really see them for the person they are becoming. And together, we can create a wholehearted life. I offer us an opportunity to bring their light to the world. To make their journey visible. And so, if you are carrying in your heart someone who is transgender or is questioning their identity, I invite you to come forward and to light a tea light candle from one of these lotuses and let their light shine. Come forward as you will. Les, can we have sound?
I want you to know how much I love you, how much you mean to me.
Oh, I should put some on the other side.
No matter how far apart we are, no matter what happens to us, you will always be right here with me, here in my heart. I want you to know that you are strong, that you are safe, that you are loved. I want you to know how much I love you, how much you mean to me. No matter how far apart we are, no matter what happens to us, you will always be right here with me, here in my heart. I want you to know that you are strong, that you are safe, that you are loved. I want you to know how much I love you, how much you mean to me. No matter how far apart we are, no matter what happens to us, you will always be right here with me, here in my heart.
Go ahead. Perfect. Thank you. I close with a reading from retired Unitarian Universalist minister from Rochester, Richard Gilbert, entitled Gentleness in Living. Be gentle with one another. It is a cry from the lives of people battered by thoughtless words and brutal deeds. It comes from the lips of those who speak them and the lives of those who do them. Who of us can look inside another and know what is there of hope and hurt, or promise and pain? Who can know from what far places each has come, or to what far places each may go? Our lives are like fragile eggs. They crack, and the substance escapes. Handle with care. Handle with exceedingly tender care, for there are human beings within. Human beings as vulnerable as we are, who feel as we feel, who hurt as we hurt. Life is too transient to be cruel with one another. It is too short for thoughtlessness, too brief for hurting. Life is long enough for caring. It is lasting enough for sharing, precious enough for love. Be gentle with one another. We're going to continue the gentleness as we sing together, How Could Anyone? It's number 1053 in the teal hymnal, but the words are up front. Sonia will play through the melody once, and then we will rise and sing it through 3 times. So the first time will probably be a little, ooh, we don't know, and you'll get there. Sonia. We'll listen to it one time. Please rise. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. One more time. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. You may be seated. Bruce.
There's Dick Gilbert. Good morning, everyone. I'm Bruce Becker. Good to see everybody here on a nice, bright, sunny day. I'm currently secretary of your Board of Trustees, and it's my pleasure to stand up here as we invite ourselves together as a congregation to connect. I'm part of the 10%, not the 90%. My first Unitarian Universalist service was probably when I was a month old, back in my hometown in Utica. But be that as it may, connecting is what counts. As our service draws to an end, our service for the world is ready to begin. Let me tell you about some of the opportunities that connect and serve our congregation in the days to come. I want to first tell you to mark your calendars for Sunday, April 23rd, when Reverend Michelle will be offering a workshop on communication skills following the regular service. Who does not need to improve their communication skills among us? I know no one, certainly not myself. The workshop, which will take place at noon that day, is sponsored by the Leadership Development and Nominating Committee. In only 2 weeks from today, we'll be celebrating Easter on Sunday, April 9th, special day for all ages. It's my understanding the Easter Bunny will be here. Some folks are too big for the costume, so it will be somebody else, I think. But the Easter Bunny might be making an appearance, and there will be crafts for children during the service, and a candy-free, what's up with that, candy-free, toy prize egg hunt following the service. This is my favorite candy time of the year. Peeps are one of my shortcomings. It's one of those boxes over here, I think. In any case, please invite friends, relatives, neighbors, anybody you think might like to participate in a UU-style Easter celebration for children. And now we have a special word from the clothing ministry team, and I'm sure this is going to be special. I have no doubt about that. Here they come.
Yes, it's true, we are out of the closet today. Bringing you some of the finest fashions from our clothing ministry on the second floor of the RE wing. So please stop by after church and do a little shopping, because you will be helping your planet. Yes, we're going to keep our clothing and accessories out of landfill. The old one man's trash is another man's treasure, as evidenced here by some of our lovely models. So we'll look forward to seeing you upstairs.
There is no ability to top that announcement, but of course we'd be remiss if we did not invite you to participate in supporting the mission and ministry of UU Amherst with your financial gifts. You'll find a green basket in the back of the chapel to receive your contributions, or you can give online by going to our website, uuamherst.org, and clicking on the giving link, or of course you can text your gift to the number on the screen. Throughout the month of April, we'll be sharing the offering with the Green Justice Team so that they can raise funds for next September's Living Green Festival, second annual Living Green Festival, I should know. More information is available in the newsletter. We'll be telling you about it today. We're telling you about it today because we want you to be able to plan ahead and contribute generously to this year's Living Green Festival. Your gifts and participation are important because we pick fruit from the trees we did not plant. We know we drink water from wells we certainly did not dig. This is as it should be, so long as we dig and plant for those who come after us. Your generous giving supports the work of this congregation and us as a beloved community.
Now I invite you to rise in body or spirit as we sing our closing blessing and remain standing as we extinguish the chalice. Travel light and travel easy till I see you once again. Travel light and travel easy, and remember I'm your friend. May the road greet you as you leave your past behind. I will think about you gently, and I'll hold you in my mind. Third verse, you know what to do. Share the love, twinkle your eyes. Here we go. Travel light and travel easy till I see you once again. Travel light and travel easy, and remember I'm your friend. Chris, would you mind extinguishing the chalice? Please join me in our chalice extinguishing words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. You may return your phones to active mode and go in peace and make a difference in the world.